The doorbell rang like a small thunder inside Elena's quiet house. She wasn't expecting anyone. Her book slipped slightly from her hands as she stood up, heart beating faster for no reason she could explain. When she opened the door, she saw her. A woman in a faded blue work shirt, tool belt resting on her hips, a few loose strands of dark hair escaping her tied-back ponytail. There was a calm confidence in her posture and a softness in her eyes that felt unexpected. "Hi," the woman said gently. "I'm Jade, the electrician." Elena swallowed. "Oh yes, I come in." Their eyes met for a second too long. Something warm passed between them like an invisible spark. Jade stepped inside, her boots tapping softly on the wooden floor. "You said your lights were flickering." "Yes, they've been doing that since last night. I thought maybe it was nothing, but you felt something wasn't right," Jade finished with a small smile. Elena nodded, surprised. "Exactly." Jade's smile widened slightly. "You're usually right when you feel that." Elena didn't know why her cheeks warmed at that. They had just met, yet it felt like they had known each other longer. Jade walked toward the living room, glancing at the walls, the lamps, the delicate decorations. "You have a peaceful home," she said. Elena followed her. "I try to make it feel safe." Jade looked back at her. "It does." That simple word stayed in the air longer than it should have. Jade knelt beside the fuse box. Elena leaned against the doorway, watching her work. The way Jade focused, the way her fingers moved with care, it was strangely comforting. "So," Jade said softly, "do you live alone?" "Yes," Elena answered. "After my parents passed, I stayed here. It's quiet, but sometimes lonely." Elena hesitated. "Sometimes." Jade nodded, understanding without judgment. There was a soft silence between them, not awkward but full. Jade stood up. "I'll check the wiring in the bedroom too, if that's okay." Elena's heart skipped. "Of course." As they walked down the hallway together, their shoulders brushed lightly. Both of them felt it, neither spoke about it. In the bedroom, the curtains were half open, sunlight spilling gently across the floor. Jade paused. "It's beautiful here." Elena smiled shyly. "I like light, it makes things feel hopeful." Jade looked at her. "You are hopeful." Elena laughed softly. "You don't even know me." "Sometimes you can feel someone," Jade replied quietly. The lights flickered once, then went out completely. Elena gasped. "Oh no." Jade raised her hand. "It's okay, I've got this." She moved closer to the wall switch, her arm brushing Elena's. The closeness made Elena's breath uneven. Jade noticed. She stepped back gently. "Sorry." "It's fine," Elena whispered. But both of them knew it wasn't just fine. Jade fixed the wiring quickly. The lights came back on, brighter than before. "There," Jade said with satisfaction. "All good." Elena clapped her hands lightly. "You're amazing." Jade smiled, a little embarrassed. "Just doing my job." "No," Elena said softly. "You make it feel easy." Jade looked at her again, and this time the look held something deeper. When the work was done, Jade wrote the bill. Elena stood beside her, reluctant for the moment to end. "Will I see you again?" Elena asked before she could stop herself. Jade paused. "If anything goes wrong, or even if it doesn't." Elena's heart fluttered. Jade handed her the paper. Their fingers touched. "Take care, Elena," Jade said. "You too, Jade." When the door closed behind her, Elena leaned against it, smiling like she hadn't in years. And outside, Jade stood for a moment, staring at the door, feeling something she hadn't expected to feel again. Something hopeful. The next morning, Elena woke up earlier than usual. The sunlight felt warmer, the room brighter, even though nothing had changed. She made coffee and stood by the window, her thoughts drifting back to Jade. The way her voice sounded calm, the way her eyes held kindness, the way her presence made the house feel alive. She shook her head slightly and smiled at herself. It was just an electrician, she whispered, but her heart didn't believe it. Later that afternoon, Elena noticed the porch light flicker again. It was barely noticeable, but her heart jumped. She hesitated, then picked up her phone and dialed the number on the receipt. It rang twice. Hello, Jade speaking. Elena closed her eyes for a second. Hi, it's Elena from yesterday. There was a pause and then warmth returned to Jade's voice. I was hoping you'd decall. Elena smiled. The porch light is flickering again. I'm sorry, I know you just fixed everything. No need to apologize, Jade said gently. I can come by after my last job today. Thank you, Elena replied. I'll be here. When the call ended, Elena realized her hands were shaking, not from worry, but from excitement. That evening, when the doorbell rang, Elena opened the door almost instantly. Jade stood there holding a small toolbox, wearing a different shirt but the same gentle expression. Hi again. Hi, Elena said, her voice softer than she intended. Jade stepped inside, looking around. It feels familiar already. Elena nodded. It does. They walked toward the porch area. Jade examined the light carefully. Looks like an old connection, probably not dangerous, just stubborn. Elena watched her work, standing closer this time. You don't have to stay right here, Jade said kindly. I want to, Elena replied. Jade glanced at her, surprised, then smiled. Okay. Silence settled between them, but it felt warm, like a shared secret. Jade finished tightening a wire. The light turned steady. There, that should hold. Elena clapped softly. You saved my house again. Jade laughed lightly. Your house was never in danger, just needed a little care. Elena hesitated, then spoke. Do you always work alone? Yes, Jade answered. I like quiet, it gives me time to think. Elena nodded. I like quiet too, but sometimes I wish there was someone to share it with. Jade looked at her, something tender in her eyes. I understand that. They stood there, not moving. Elena took a breath. Would you like to stay for tea? Jade hesitated. I shouldn't, I still have paperwork. Elena smiled softly. Just 1 cup, no pressure. Jade looked at her, then nodded. 1 cup. In the kitchen, Elena prepared tea while Jade sat at the small dining table, watching her. You're very calm, Jade said. I don't always feel calm, Elena replied, but I try. Jade nodded slowly. You're strong. Elena glanced at her. You are too. They shared a quiet smile. When Elena placed the cups on the table, their fingers brushed again. This time, neither pulled away quickly. Jade cleared her throat. Elena, can I ask you something? Yes. Do you ever feel like you've been waiting for something, but you don't know what? Elena's eyes softened. All the time. Jade looked down at her cup. That's how I feel when I'm here. Elena's heart skipped. Me too. The air shifted, gentle but powerful. Jade stood slowly. I should go before this becomes confusing. Elena stood as well. Maybe it's okay to be confused. Jade met her eyes. Maybe. At the door, Jade hesitated. Can I see you again, not as your electrician? Elena smiled, warmth filling her chest. I'd like that. Jade smiled back, brighter than before. So would I. Days passed, then weeks. They met for coffee, for walks, for quiet talks under soft skies. Their bond grew slowly, carefully, like something precious. One evening, they sat on a park bench, watching the sunset. Jade spoke softly. I haven't felt this way in a long time. Elena replied, neither have I. It feels safe. Jade nodded. With you, it does. They shared a gentle, shy touch of hands. No rush, just trust. But not everything stayed peaceful. One afternoon, Elena waited at a cafe. Jade was late, very late. Her phone buzzed, a message from an unknown number. She's busy, stop waiting. Elena's heart tightened. Minutes later, she saw Jade across the street, standing close to another woman, talking, laughing. From a distance, it looked intimate. Elena stood frozen. Her phone buzzed again. You don't know her like you think you do. Elena's chest felt heavy. tears formed in her eyes. She left without letting Jade see her. That night, Elena didn't answer Jade's calls. Days passed, silence grew. Jade stood outside Elena's door one evening, knocking gently. "Elena, please talk to me." No answer. Jade whispered, "I don't know what I did, but I'm sorry if I hurt you." Inside, Elena leaned against the door, tears falling silently. Her heart was breaking, not from anger but from confusion. And love. Elena spent the night awake, staring at the ceiling, replaying the image again and again. Jade standing close to that woman, the way they laughed, the way it looked so natural, so familiar. Her chest felt tight, like something precious was slipping through her fingers. In the morning, her phone showed 10 missed calls from Jade and 3 messages. "Please talk to me. I'm worried about you. I don't understand what's happening." Elena turned the phone face down. She wasn't angry. She was scared, scared that she had imagined everything, scared that the connection she felt was only one-sided. That same afternoon, Jade stood in her work van, gripping the steering wheel. Her eyes were tired, her heart heavier than any toolbox she had ever carried. She had no idea what went wrong. One moment, everything was warm and real. The next, Elena vanished. She whispered, "Please don't give up on me." Across town, the woman from the street scene stood in a small office, speaking to her manager. "She's avoiding me," the woman said softly. "I didn't mean to cause any trouble." The manager sighed. "You were only helping Jade with paperwork, but someone clearly misunderstood." The woman nodded. "I wish I could explain." Back at Elena's house, the silence felt louder than any argument. She tried to distract herself, watering plants, cleaning shelves, rearranging books, but Jade was in every corner of her thoughts. Finally, her phone buzzed again, a new message. "Elena, that woman you saw, she's my coworker. She helps me manage contracts and billing. Please let me explain." Elena read it again and again. Her heart wavered between hope and fear. She typed, then erased, typed again, then stopped. "Why didn't you tell me before?" she finally wrote. Jade replied instantly. "Because I didn't think it mattered, because what mattered to me was you." Tears rolled down Elena's cheeks. "But the message from the unknown number," Elena wrote. "I never sent that. Someone must have tried to create distance between us. I swear, Elena, I would never hurt you like that." Elena closed her eyes, breathing deeply. She wanted to believe her. She wanted to trust her heart. "Can we talk?" Elena sent. Jade's reply came with relief. "I'm already on my way." When Jade arrived, she didn't knock. She stood quietly, afraid of being rejected. Then the door opened. Elena stood there, eyes red, heart exposed. "Come in," she whispered. Jade stepped inside slowly. "Thank you." They stood in silence, both unsure how to begin. Elena spoke first. "I was scared. I thought I had imagined everything." Jade's voice trembled. "You didn't imagine anything. What we feel is real to me, very real." Elena looked at her. "Then why did it hurt so much?" "Because you care," Jade replied, "and so do I." Elena's tears fell freely now. "I didn't want to lose you." Jade stepped closer, carefully, as if approaching something fragile. "You're not losing me, not if I have a choice." Elena lifted her eyes. "Do I still have a place in your life?" Jade's answer was immediate. "You are the place." Their hands found each other, trembling but honest. "I'm not perfect," Jade said softly. "I don't always explain myself well, but my heart, it chose you without doubt." Elena squeezed her hand. "Mine did too, I just needed reassurance." Jade nodded. "Then I'll give you all of it, every day." They sat on the couch, close but not rushed, letting the pain dissolve into understanding. Later, Jade took a deep breath. "Can I ask you something?" "Yes." "When you saw me with her, what did you feel?" Elena answered honestly. "I felt replaceable, like I was just a moment in your life." Jade's eyes softened with sadness. "You are not a moment, you are the chapter I never knew I was waiting for." Elena smiled through tears. You say things that make my heart brave. Jade smiled gently. You make mine feel safe. Outside, rain began to fall lightly, like the world was washing away their misunderstanding. They sat together listening to it, sharing silence again, but this time with certainty. The unknown number never messaged again. Weeks passed, their bond grew stronger, deeper. They learned to talk before fear took over. They learned to trust before doubt could settle. One evening, Jade stood in Elena's kitchen, fixing a small lamp that wasn't even broken. You just wanted an excuse to visit, didn't you? Elena teased. Jade smiled, maybe. Elena walked closer. You don't need an excuse anymore. Jade looked at her, eyes full of warmth. I know. They stood inches apart, hearts steady. Jade, Elena whispered, what are we? Jade answered without hesitation, we are two people choosing each other. Elena nodded, I like that. They shared a gentle embrace, not rushed, not dramatic, just full of promise. Later that night, as Jade prepared to leave, Elena held her hand. Stay, she said softly. Jade smiled, I was hoping you'd ask. And for the first time, Elena's house didn't feel quiet. It felt complete.